When you're a team like the OKC Thunder that has a ton of cap space that you can use to acquire free agents and also a ton of draft assets which could help you maneuver the trade market, it wouldn't be shocking if you simply approach the NBA draft with a best player available mentality. And when the best player available is actually a big guard who can score at will and who's considered the best playmaker from his draft class, when he slides all the way down to you at number 12, you definitely have to pick that player up. Which is why when 6'6" Serbian guard Nikola Topic fell all the way down towards the end of the lottery, I wasn't even a bit surprised when the Thunder took him with a 12th overall pick. Well, it isn't a secret that just a few months ago, Topic was widely projected to be a top 5 pick in the 2024 NBA draft, but after suffering a couple of knee injuries which culminated with a partially torn ACL just a month ago, Topic's draft stock took a huge hit. But nonetheless, as an 18-year-old player, Topic looked like a star in Europe's Adriatic League while competing mostly against grown men, wherein this past season, he averaged 15 points, 6 assists, and 3 rebounds while shooting more than 50% from the field, all while having a major shot creation and playmaking role for his team's Mega and Red Star. And that's totally not a normal type of production for someone so young in such a competitive professional league. Well, sure, Topic most likely won't suit up for OKC this upcoming season to rehab his injury, but when he finally steps on the NBA floor healthy, Topic could easily look like the biggest steal of the 2024 NBA draft class. But then, late in the first round, OKC continued to double down on their rotation after acquiring 6'6" Weber State forward Dillon Jones with a 26th overall pick. Jones is an older prospect at 22 years old, but he ended his 4-year college career while practically averaging a double-double of almost 21 points, almost 10 rebounds, together with 5 assists this past season. Well, the fact that Jones is built like a tank at 235 pounds while also having a 6'11" wingspan is already impressive, but the fact that he's also a dribble, shoot, and pass type of player who can also defend multiple positions makes him look like a Thunder type of player even more. So what's good everyone, it's Real Balls here, and today, let's dive more into these two prospects and why they actually look like absolute draft steals for the OKC Thunder. Let's get to it. I've been hearing a lot of Josh Giddey comparisons made with Nikola Topic right off the bat as soon as Topic got drafted by OKC. However, aside from both of them being oversized playmaking guards, I just don't really see a lot of obvious similarities in their skill profiles entering the NBA. First off, it's worth noting that despite not being an extraordinary athlete or a knockdown shooter, Topic was still able to easily put up multiple 20-point games in Europe this past season, and a lot of that has got to do with his unique ability for a guard to easily apply pressure at the rim. Well, Topic doesn't necessarily have top speed and flashy handles and is also not vertically explosive, but he has sneaky athleticism together with a quality first step and high-level understanding of driving angles. Basically, Topic gets from point A to point B in the most efficient way possible. He's composed enough to dribble through traffic while also being aware enough to find driving lanes no matter how small they may be. And once he gets to the rim, Topic has the craft and touch to finish with either hand and also the strength to finish against contact. Plus, the good thing is he's very comfortable applying all that rim pressure whether he operates in isolation or as a pick-and-roll ball handler. It isn't a fluke that almost 60% of his shots this past season have come at the rim and that he shot a highly efficient 68% clip from that area while also generating 4.5 free throw attempts per game. Basically, Topic enters the NBA already an elite ball-handling driver, especially for his age, making him immediately a great fit with OKC's drive-heavy offensive attack. Well, obviously, there are questions as to whether or not his finishing skills could translate at the next level, given the scale-up in terms of the athleticism and defense that he will have to face in the NBA. But even when he has to adjust to the speed and pace of the NBA as a shot maker, Topic can still make an impact for OKC right off the bat using his playmaking ability. He's easily the most advanced and most creative playmaker from his draft class who can make advanced passing reads and who can dish out practically any type of pass on the floor. Topic is such a high IQ and high-level passer who constantly runs the pick and roll and is able to capitalize on any slight mistake that the defense makes. And this past season, while with Mega where he played most of his games, Topic averaged 7 assists per game while producing just 3 turnovers per contest, which basically equals to a 2.2 assist ratio, which actually lies in between LaMelo Ball and Josh Giddey's production during their pre-draft seasons as two playmaking guards who also played professionally as teenagers just like Topic. Well, sure, critics would say that Topic has produced a high 16.9 turnover rate, but I think it isn't as bad as it seems, given how ball-dominant he actually was in his role. In fact, when you look at some previous ball-dominant guard prospects just like John Morant, Tyrese Halliburton, and even Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you'll see that all of those guys even had higher turnover rates than Topic during their pre-draft seasons. It's just that when you factor in everything and when you include the film, I think you could easily project Topic's playmaking to be translatable at the NBA level, and in the context of OKC, I think once he's healthy, it's not a reach to say that Topic can immediately step in as the main offensive facilitator for the Thunder's second unit. Place him to operate with the ball in his hands next to constant off-ball movers and shooters like Cason Wallace, Isaiah Joe, and Aaron Wiggins, and the Thunder's second unit should be able to thrive. But obviously, for him to be a clean fit in OKC's 5-out offense, Topic would have to at least become a league-average outside shooter. Well, to be fair, Topic only converted 21 3-point field goals this past season, which might be a cause of concern. But the thing is, he also only took 73 attempts from deep. That's actually a very small sample size to try to use to project someone's shooting trajectory. But aside from the low percentages, his shooting stroke doesn't look broken at all. His elite finishing at the rim, as well as the fact that he shot 85 and 89% from the free throw line the past 2 seasons, also actually indicates good shooting touch for a guard. It's just hard to imagine someone with such high percentages at the rim and from the foul line to simply not become at least a league average catch and shoot guy in the NBA. But for sure, his ceiling most likely depends on how he can develop as a shot creator from the perimeter. And again, we haven't seen Topic operate as a pull-up shooter a ton of times, especially with his preference to mostly drive to the basket. But I think the technique, the fluidity with his dribble to shot mechanics, and most especially his confidence as a pull-up guy is definitely there. Just like in this play, you can see Topic initially using a ball screen. He gets switched to a big man, so he patiently backs down, creating just enough space away from his defender before he decides to launch the deep pull-up three-pointer with a hand in his face. This time, Topic uses a high ball screen, and again, as he gets the switch against a more favorable matchup, he uses a quick cross and creates just enough separation off the dribble as he hits the tough fadeaway jumper. The bigger question though, I think, with Topic comes on the defensive end. Obviously, at 6'6" with a 7-foot wingspan, he's definitely got above average physical tools for an NBA guard. But the thing is, he actually had low rates of steals, blocks, and rebounds in Europe this past season. Topic also wasn't really relied on to defend from the point of attack, although what I love about the potential is that, because of his lengthy frame, Topic has at least showed the ability to act as a middling team defender who was able to jump off passing lanes and who was able to even switch against opposing bigs in the paint while acting as a disruptor. Well, for sure, how much he can develop as a one-on-one defender in the NBA will also probably depend on how much he builds on his frame, but I love the fact that Topic's physical tools and high IQ on both ends already gives him at least a workable baseline as an NBA defender. Again, his outside shooting and his defense are question marks heading into OKC, but I think his comfort level and maturity running the pick and roll, his skill in terms of getting shots at the rim, and his overall feel as a passer for a young 6'6" guard just really stands out. At the very least, I can easily visualize Nikola Topic running the Thunder's second unit as the team's backup point guard of the future, only behind SGA. That's not a bad outcome at all, and if he develops accordingly, I do believe Topic actually has a star-level player type of ceiling. But moving on, OKC landed another potential draft steal when they traded 5 second-round picks to select Dillon Jones 26th overall. Jones is basically a do-it-all type of wing, and his versatility is actually backed up by the fact that last season, he became the first NCAA Division I player in over 3 decades to put up at least 600 points, 300 rebounds, 160 assists, and 60 steals in a single season. This guy projects to be an instant impact piece who could really be a good fit with OKC's positionless system on both ends. First, as a scorer, Jones was very comfortable with the ball in his hands as he was Weber State's go-to offensive option. As a bigger ball handler, he always has the advantage when creating his shot, whether in isolation or in the pick and roll. Well, he's not a vertically explosive athlete, but he has a solid first step that gets him into the lane, and he is a dangerous driver no matter how he wants to play it. Once he goes downhill, he uses a mix of force, finesse, and angle manipulation to either force his way to the rim or to create shots from the mid-range. And he was very efficient scoring from those two areas last season, as he put up a solid 61% shooting clip at the rim and a 40% shooting clip from the mid-range, both on solid volume. While he won't have to initiate much with the ball in his hands in OKC, but Jones should immediately be useful as a floor spacer. He isn't the dribble jumper type of guy yet, but he is solid off the catch with a clean compact stroke that he can get into quickly, which led to Jones shooting a highly efficient 39% mark on catch and shoot 3-pointers last season on a good volume of 4 attempts per game. But aside from his scoring ability from all over the floor, what I love even more about Jones is that he also projects to be a solid connective playmaker at the next level. Last season, as Weber State's go-to option, he registered a 30.3 assist percentage and a 2:1 assist-to-turnover ratio, both of which are numbers you only typically see from good passing point guards. Well, most of his playmaking reps came out of the pick and roll, but I also love that even when he was trying to create in isolation, he didn't really have the ball in his hands for too long, and he was always able to display his passing vision and quick processing ability. In this play, you can see Jones driving to the lane. He hits his man with a change of pace, and in a split second, he sees the gap in the weak side with his teammate having a cutting lane. So Jones dishes the quick bullet pass right to his teammate under the basket. This time, in semi-transition, Jones brings the ball down court. He gets into the paint, but instead of forcing his way in or throwing an entry pass to the big man, he quickly identifies the corner cutter and he throws the one-handed overhead pass right where his teammate can easily get it. But Jones' versatility also extends to the defensive end. He has a strong frame at 235 pounds with a 6'11" wingspan, and he uses all of those to his advantage. Again, he isn't a vertical athlete, but most of his vertical pop shows up as a rebounder. In fact, he's produced a ridiculous rebounding percentage of at least 30% in each of his past 3 seasons in college, while also averaging 10.5 rebounds per game within that span of time. That is just unbelievable for a 6'6" guy. Jones should be a very good rebounding wing for OKC right from day one. Well, when guarding one-on-one, he isn't necessarily a lockdown defender, but he has quick hands, advanced reading of the game, and a knack for being at the right place at the right time, which has cost him to average 2 steals per game this past season, while also putting up a 2.7 steal percentage for his entire college career. Jones is basically someone who you could easily deploy as part of OKC's switch-everything type of defense, where he should be able to find a role as at least a switchable and a disruptive team defender. Well, sure, his average athleticism puts a cap on his ceiling on both ends of the floor, but it's just hard to argue against OKC giving up 5 second-round picks to draft a guy who's just so versatile and who just offers so much in terms of skill. At the end of the day, I think OKC was never going to be in a position to count on a rookie from this draft class right from day one anyway, but I just love the fact that the front office went for the players they wanted, and it just happens that these players really appear to be high-level long-term fits with the Thunder's existing core. It's now on the Thunder to bolster their rotation more with experienced players as we're entering NBA free agency. So thank you guys if you've actually made it this far into the video. Feel free to drop your thoughts about the Thunder's draft selections on the comment section below. And again, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing as well. Again, this is Real Balls, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.